Oh, hello there. In this vlog I'm going to get a free car for 2 days and a free tank of petrol. And I'll be driving from Nelson to Christchurch. This vlog's also going to be a little bit of a mashup to get you up to speed before my next big project. So if you like a little bit of continuity, fill your boots. When last you saw me I was in Chandigarh. Well, from there I took a plane to New Zealand and spent some time with family. And although I did a lot of cool stuff with my family, I didn't really do anything that was a standalone vlog worthy. So here's a compilation. So for my next big project, I needed to be in Christchurch. And believe me, this is going to be a big project. I went to transfercar.co.nz and I found an SUV for 2 days with a free tank of petrol. And believe me, in New Zealand, you can do a lot with one tank of petrol. So with the car secured, I said goodbye to my dog, went to the airport and picked up my car, and then said goodbye to my parents. And that's where this story begins. So I got this rental car to get me all the way to Christchurch, and then have a whole day in Christchurch, and I got a free tank of petrol to go with the rental as well. And it's all free. They only have to put a small deposit on my credit card so that they'll have it for any damages and things, and that'll be returned to me once I return the car. So I bet some of you are probably thinking, a free car? What's the catch? Well, it's actually quite simple once you've had it explained to you. See, when someone rents a car, they usually do it from a place like Auckland or Wellington Airport. And then they take that car to a place of low demand, like, pretty much everywhere else in the country. And then suddenly there's a surplus of cars in these smaller towns that need to somehow get back to the place of high demand. Now, the company could hire someone to go to these smaller towns and collect the cars, and then have to pay for the flights and the accommodation and the fuel and the other travel expenses, which would end up costing them quite a lot of money. Or alternatively, they could offer that route with that vehicle to the general public, saving the company quite a considerable amount of money. So it's really a win-win situation for the customer and for the rental agency. Free car to Christchurch with a free tank of petrol. It's hard to argue with. So from Nelson, I have to make my way to Christchurch. Now, the obvious way to go is via the Lewis Pass. However, the Lewis Pass has had road closures at Springs Junction due to snow. So let's hope that that pass is still open for me today. Checked the weather forecast last night and it looks like we're just in for a bit of rain. Should be smooth sailing though. Let's hit the road. So with so much time to spare, I decided I was going to come and have a look at the Hope Saddle lookout point. And as you can see, it's quite a spectacular lookout point. Least ways it would be if you could see anything. That was a little bit disappointing. I'm sure it would have looked nice if it was a nicer weather, but oh well. Back with the road trip. This is us now just pulled into Murchison. It's one of my favourite places to stop at whenever I'm going across the Lewis Pass. It's kind of a good stop for fueling up or using the restroom just before you go over through the mountains and through the mountain passes. There used to be a place called Springs Junction up the road, but apparently there's nothing there anymore. So Murchison is now probably the best place to stop off at when you're on your way over the mountains. Every single time I come through here, it's good to go into here to the Murchison tea rooms and takeaways. Whether if you're looking for lunch or for a snack or a drink or an ice cream or whatever you want, I get wedges every time I go through. Anywho, I think we've lingered here long enough because we've got some ground to cover. So, back on the road. Oh, I definitely recommend the wedges. So this is Springs Junction, the place I was talking about earlier. This little cafe used to be a good spot to get like snacks and stuff while you're traveling over, especially the wedges, those were good. And this is one of the most expensive petrol stations in all of New Zealand. It's kind of a ghost town now, but it does mark the start of the Lewis Pass. Well, all the worries that I had of Lewis Pass being closed seemed to be like I was worrying for nothing. Lewis Pass was nice and clear. There is a tiny bit of snow up in the mountains, but nothing that hindered driving or anything like that, so over the hills and on to Christchurch. It's going pretty well so far. Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? This is like the Lewis Pass. Stunning views every direction. I will recommend, if you're ever planning your trip to New Zealand, to allow yourself time to just stop and take in some of the views. Like, I think I've stopped 5 or 6 times already along here just to look. And look at that. The river there with the cows and the mountains with the snow and the forests and fields and things. It's absolutely gorgeous. Anywho, back on the road again. So I've made it to Christchurch, and it's well, it's a little bit rainy, which is less than ideal, but hopefully this will clear up by the morning and explore a little bit of Christchurch. It's definitely not called the land of the long white cloud for nothing. The weather's definitely not my favourite for today. That's alright though. Technically, the road trip hasn't started yet, so as long as the weather holds out after this point, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. If the bad weather happens right now, then that means that when I actually get onto my proper video vlog of the road trip heading north, as long as the weather turns out nice and fine then it can rain all at once today, I suppose. Yeah. Well, anyway, this is us at the new Brighton Pier, and usually a nice spot in summer or in days when it's not, raining. I did have a few plans for this morning, but it's definitely putting a dampener on things, figuratively and literally. It's just too cold. I'm going back to the car. Yeah. They sure are crazy, these Kiwis. Also, usually the waterfront down here is a pretty cool spot when it's not bucketing down with rain. Anyway, I'd love to have a walk around and explore, but for obvious reasons, I'm gonna get in the car. Classic Christchurch is the tram. It's very, very iconic of Christchurch. The other location in Christchurch that I come here to see is, of course, the beloved cathedral, still being repaired from the 2012 earthquakes that completely decimated Christchurch. Back in its time, this was the most iconic building in all of Christchurch. I think I've seen this building more times since the earthquakes destroyed it than I have back when it was actually intact. Next stop is Orana Wildlife Park, which is a great place to come and see New Zealand's namesake. That part earlier when I said that I overestimated the low light capabilities of my cameras, well, that happened again now. But trust me, they're there, and you can see them a lot better with your eyes than with a camera lens. It did seem only right to come and see kiwis since I was in New Zealand. It's very dark in there, so I'm kind of hoping any of that actually came out on camera. I love tigers. There were quite a few different animals at Orana, but most of them were indoors because it was raining and freezing cold. I love my giraffes. Hey fellas. Oh, I really kind of regret being here in the cold and in the rain, because much fun as it's been, I think I need to get going because there's more of Christchurch to explore, and my next destination, I have an appointment to keep, so better get going. Well, that was a little bit disappointing, but you know, I can't blame the animals for wanting to stay indoors on a day when it's this cold, wet and rainy. And that, unfortunately, is my flying visit to Orana. So then I made my way back into town to the Riverside Market. You know, it does kind of remind me a little bit of St. Lawrence's Market, actually. I came over to the Riverside Market specifically to meet Megan and Anna from the channel Travel Kiwi. So as a highlight of this video, I was going to film us meeting for the first time, hanging out for the afternoon, and maybe doing a bit of a tour around. Unfortunately though, I thought that the best camera for this would be my Insta360. But unbeknownst to me, there's a tiny little setting on your Insta360 on the fiddly little touchscreen which turns it from 360 mode to 150 degree mode. And somehow that little option got switched on, which kind of ruined the entire segment. So here's the heartwarming moment when I met my friends and mentors for the first time.
But are you Megan and Anna?
And then you can kind of see the top of Anna's head here, and you can kind of see the top of Megan's head here. And then you can see the ceiling, and then you can see the floor, and then you can kind of see the three of us. Luckily though, I did get a few pictures from Anna, and me sporting my Travel Kiwi t-shirt. Come try the chocolate, they said.
You can come here for coffee, beer, food and dessert, and party afterwards as well upstairs.
Good combination then. I'm actually getting a bit starstruck just now dealing with these two.
Oh, this is the best desserts. Everything in here is amazing.
It's actually a lot like the St. Lawrence's Market if you guys are ever in Canada.
Ah, I saw that video.
You saw that one? They have one of these downstairs there. So meeting Megan and Anna in person was actually really cool. If you haven't seen their channel before, I'll link it on screen here. They've actually appeared in a couple of my videos before through, you know, camera trickery, because we've actually met in person before. I was really disappointed in my camera with that. Insta360, sort yourselves out, seriously. I do realise that this vlog is a little bit different to my regular vlogs, but as a reward for sticking around this long, I'm now going to show you a quick preview of my upcoming New Zealand project.